Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, Robert Downey Jr. is back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not in the way we were expecting. Also, is it wrong to steal quarters at Aldi? All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU. Plenty of discussion of Olympic controversies coming up later on in this episode, but there's one that I didn't get to that I need to hit now, and that is the controversy about swimmers peeing in the Olympic pool, which is something that apparently is not a controversy among swimmers themselves. In a recent piece that was done by the Wall Street Journal, where they talked to many Olympic swimmers, they found that if you're a swimmer at the Olympics, they absolutely pee in the pool. In fact, Lily King is one of the swimmers. She says she's done it in every pool she's ever swam in, and she says you can do it while swimming. I don't know if I can do that. I've never tried, but something tells me I wouldn't be able to. That's a skill that you have to perfect. Okay, so the question is why? Why do Olympic swimmers pee in the pool? Well, in part, think about this. You may not realize that the suits that they have to wear are so skin tight that it can take up to 20 minutes just to get it on or off, which is time you just don't have to spare every time you need to go to the bathroom when you're in the heat of competition or when you're preparing for a race. Also, you think about it, they are so ultra hydrated. That means they have to go all the time. And so yet again, if you had to kind of go through that whole process, getting in and out of the suit every single time, that would eat up a lot of your time at the pool. But just because they have to do it doesn't mean that it's not gross, right? So how do they mentally deal with that? Katie Hoff, one of the swimmers, says that, this is a quote, there's so much chlorine in the pool that you don't even think about it. Very sure that's exactly how chlorine works, but whatever you need to do to make yourself okay with it. See, I'm a solutions-oriented guy, and I've always been taught that peeing in the pool frowned upon. You would think at the Olympics they could have the resources maybe to provide a separate pool that nobody swims in, but that's just the pool that you go hop over into that one when you need to go. I think that would be doable, don't you think? But then again, these Olympic swimmers, they're spending so much time in the pool. That means they're spending so much time in pee. And they all seem fine. So if it's good enough for them, I guess, these are our best and brightest Americans. They're winning gold medals. If it's okay for them, I think it's okay for me. It's the Hudson Show. My weekend was going pretty well. Spent some time out at the pool over the weekend. It was a perfect weekend for that for me. But as I was leaving the pool, a man stopped me that had also been hanging out at the pool. Don't know how long he'd been there, but he stops me. He says, sir, excuse me, sir. Usually when that happens, I like to tend to ignore the person. Not sure if I should have ignored this guy because he says, sir, excuse me, sir. You probably hear this all the time, but... And what he said to me, you may be able to guess, was not something I hear all the time. What I do hear all the time is that, like normally I'm wearing some kind of either band tee or like a, sports memorabilia. So that's what I do hear all the time is like, go Red Sox, go Packers. I like that band, Anne Berlin. They're cool or whatever. But that is not what I heard. That's what I was expecting. What I heard from this man was, you probably hear this all the time, but you look exactly like a young Kid Rock. I said, I've never heard that before in my life. He said, well, you look exactly like a young Kid Rock, and that is awesome. And that was our conversation. I listen, I took it as a compliment, but young Kid Rock is not the look I've been going for in my life. But he meant it as a compliment. At least he said young. At least it's not current day Kid Rock that, let's be honest, he's been through it. Kid Rock. Now, a young Kid Rock, at least I look young to him, which I appreciate. This runs along, like as I've gone through life, the more and more I'm getting compliments or saying that I look like celebrities that I feel like I'm less and less excited to look like. Although young Kid Rock feels like a step up from my previous most received celebrity comparison, which was Kevin Smith. So here's what I want you to do. If most people listening right now probably don't know what I look like, And so I need to know, I need some reassurance. Do I look like a young Kid Rock? Go to the Hudson Show YouTube channel. Check out any of our recent things we've done. We just did a food fight recently on the show, NayNay and I, with Cinnabons and the new Mountain Dew. Let me know, do I look like a young Kid Rock on the Hudson Show YouTube channel? Let me know what you saw in theaters over the weekend. Did you see any new movies? Did you go out and see Deadpool and Wolverine? Let's just get down to it. Let's do our Monday tradition, the box office breakdown, looking at what made money and what didn't in theaters over the weekend. It's no surprise, no secret. The Deadpool and Wolverine was going to be number one when the box office numbers came out. But how much money did Deadpool and Wolverine make? A ton. To be specific, $205 million in North America. Now that's good, but how good? It is just the 9th movie ever to make over $200 million in its opening weekend. It is the 8th highest opening weekend ever. And it is the biggest R-rated debut opening weekend ever. A massive weekend for Deadpool and Wolverine. So people say that the theaters are dead yet again. Deadpool and Wolverine joining Inside Out 2, proving that that's just not true. It just has to be a big movie that people really, truly care about and have to go see. Did you get to go see it? Let me know at 877-2-RADIO-U. I have not seen it. I did not get to it over the weekend, but I do plan on seeing it tomorrow so I can save a few bucks on cheap Ticket Tuesdays. Although I should probably get my ticket because I haven't yet. And it seems like there may not be many left based off of how many people went to see this dang thing over the weekend. Other movies rounding out the top 5. Even though Deadpool and Wolverine made a ton of money, there was still enough money to go around for Twisters, which came in second place with another $35 million. That's really good for a movie of that type in its second weekend. Then you had Despicable Me 4, Inside Out 2, and Long Legs, rounding out the top 5 at the box office this weekend. Deadpool and Wolverine made a lot of money. The biggest R-rated opening movie ever. It got $205 million. We did hear from Andy. I like what he said in his review. He just texted in. He said, let's just say Deadpool and Wolverine really earned that R rating. It was still a pretty good time. I think that about sums it up, doesn't it? I will let you know what I think of Deadpool and Wolverine after I get out to see it, hopefully tomorrow. But what I did see over the weekend instead, not very current at all. In fact, I watched the very first episode. I'm going to start working my way through this show, Friday Night Lights, which obviously has been off the air for several years now. But I have never seen a single episode, which I felt like was kind of a blind spot because a lot of the people I know, a lot of guys I know, big football fans, say Friday Night Lights, a great show. And I've never seen a moment of it. So I went ahead. I watched the first episode of Friday Night Lights on Hulu. And let me say, it is, I told Mrs. Hudson that I was watching it. I asked if she ever watched it because it's kind of teen, like high school drama-y, of course. It's a high school football team in Texas. She said, no, that seems so teeny for you. I guess it is. But that said, an absolutely great first episode. A lot of times first episodes of shows don't get you in as much. And of course, it's an old show, but I'm not going to spoil it. But as soon as the actual football starts in the show, so good. So Friday Night Lights, I'm going to be sticking with that, watching my way through that. The other thing I watched, even older, The Never-Ending Story. This year is its 40th anniversary, which is absolutely insane. I've never seen The Never-Ending Story until this weekend. And The Never-Ending Story, here's what I like about it. I don't even know if I like the story. I don't even know if I really followed it and kept up with it that much. But what I did like is just the visuals of The Never-Ending Story. They don't make movies like The Never-Ending Story anymore because now it's all CGI. It's all done with computers. But I'm telling you, if you've ever stumbled upon dark fantasy style stuff on TikTok, that's all based off of The Never-Ending Story. A lot of Stranger Things based off of The Never-Ending Story. Of course, there's a big homage when they sing the song. And so from a visual perspective, it just looks so cool. All of the monsters and stuff they created, I'm assuming anyways, based off of how it looks practically. Some of the green screen stuff, not as great, but all the monsters and stuff they made for the show the movie look really cool. And talking of Stranger Things, is anybody saying this, that the star of The Neverending Story, which is a guy, an actor. Really looks like Millie Bobby Brown, especially when she's younger. I could not get that out of my mind watching The Neverending Story. Something I was thinking about over the weekend, I was lying awake, couldn't sleep. I was thinking about how you can never just have all of the TV. Like, you can't just have all of the channels, all of the services. I mean, I guess maybe you could if you were willing to pay a ton of money and go through all the hassle to put all that together. Not only can you not have all of the channels, all of the movies that you want to watch, you can't even have like all of the baseball games for your team. This is what I was thinking. That the Red Sox, if I wanted to watch every Red Sox game this year, I could get an MLB TV subscription and that would get me most of their games, but not the games that are on ESPN like last night, which was fine. They lost. I shouldn't have watched that. But to watch that, you have to get ESPN, but not just ESPN Plus. No, you have to actually have like a subscription to ESPN. But still, I have to get another subscription because what about when the Red Sox play one of the 4 teams that's within a 500-mile radius of where I live? That's going to be blacked out on MLB TV. That's another subscription I've got to get. And then Apple TV Plus for occasionally when they play on there. And the Roku channel for when and all of a sudden you've got to add all these things together and still there may be things you're missing out on. And that's just for a baseball season. Forget about all of the other shows and movies you might want to watch. You just have to keep adding on and paying more just to try to get the whole thing. But you know what's crazy about God is that's not how he is that when you have a relationship with God, you get the entire package. You get like the very top tier. There's nothing that's locked behind a paywall or that you have to find some other area, some other avenue to get. You get all of God. You get God the healer, God the peace giver, God the comforter, God, like all of this, God the forgiver, all of these things, every aspect of God, the entire package, and you get it. And what's crazy is you get it for free. That's why if you go to RadioU.com/free gift, that's why we called it that, because it's free to find out who God is, what he's like. You don't have to pay anything and you get access to the very top tier. Everything is unlocked. If you want to know what that's like, again, RadioU.com/free gift. Find out for yourself. The big news out of San Diego Comic-Con over the weekend from Marvel confirmed rumors that have been swirling for a couple of weeks now, and that is that the Russo brothers are back for the upcoming 2 Avengers movies. One, Secret Wars. The other was going to be the Kang Dynasty, but of course that has been changed, which obviously is a big news. It's a massive announcement. They are responsible, of course, for making the most successful movies of all time. Although they also, since they made those movies, have been doing some very expensive things that I don't think many people care about. But yet again, the Russo brothers back with Marvel. That's huge. The other huge announcement, and this is somewhat of a spoiler because it's casting. But I mean, how are you going to avoid knowing this between now and when the movies come out? Is that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not as Iron Man, at least not as far as we know. Instead, he will be returning as Victor Von Doom from Fantastic Four. It looks like he is going to be one of the main villains, possibly in the Avengers going forward. Let me open this up to the Hudson Hotline here.
877-2-RADIO-U.
How do we feel about Robert Downey Jr. or any actor portraying multiple different characters in the same movie series? Like, are we all supposed to forget that he was Iron Man, even though he still looks like Iron Man, and now he's just playing a different guy with a mask? They literally said, new mask, same task, when they revealed that this was happening at San Diego Comic-Con. To me, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just save it. But I want to see what you think. Are we okay with Robert Downey Jr. or any actor portraying one character in a movie series and then coming back and portraying an entirely different character altogether, still the same person in real life? Robert Downey Jr. was announced at Comic-Con over the weekend in San Diego that he is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but not to play Iron Man himself. Instead, he's going to be Victor Von Doom. How do we feel about this? Robert Downey Jr., obviously many of us love Robert Downey Jr., great actor, great for Iron Man. But what do we think about him or any actor portraying one character in a movie series and then coming back playing an entirely different character, acting like we're not going to notice? Philip says it's all a little too timey timey-wimey, Doctor Who style, I guess. I'm not too familiar with Doctor Who, but I guess that's a quote. But I know there's a lot of whatever. Doctor Who, it is too timey-wimey. A lot of people are throwing like multiverse theories at me. I feel like that if they're going to go that route, if they're leaning more into the multiverse, it's getting to be too much already. Forget about going even deeper with that. J-Rod says, depends entirely on how good the actor is, or otherwise how much they can make the new character be entrancing or feel different. I mean, yeah, I guess this feels like it goes without saying, but if the actor's no good and they can't really bring a lot of range to the two different characters and they seem the same, that's not gonna play well at all. I also like what Drew says, who said it's kind of wild how they're like, well, we can't recast Kang because people wouldn't buy that. Oh, but we can bring back the guy who played Iron Man to play an entirely different character. That's what I'm feeling like. Like, I can suspend one. Why can't you recast Kang? They've already recast people, right, in Iron Man. This has happened before. Terrence Howard was in the first Iron Man movie. He got replaced by somebody entirely different and acted like we all didn't have to care about that. And generally we don't, I guess. But why can't you do it the Kang? Instead, you're bringing in a repeat actor to play an entirely different character. And either you're going to explain it with the multiverse, which I don't feel that I like, or we're all just supposed to pretend that this is somebody different. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right to me. And listen, it's all about suspension of disbelief. I can believe that there's a purple alien that has a glove that could snap half of us all away. I believe there can be multiple timelines, I guess, then we can go forwards and backwards, and there's multiple different versions of everybody. But I can't believe that the same actor I know in real life can play two different characters in the same world. What is this? The Nutty Professor? It's you be the judge. 8772 RadioU. You can hand down your verdict on this one. Not sure if you've heard about this recently, but Boar's Head has been the subject of controversy as of late. They had to recall a bunch of their products, their deli meat products, for being contaminated with listeria, which can cause things such as nausea, diarrhea, stomach cramping. Basically anything that Pepto-Bismol treats can be caused by listeria getting in your deli meat, which is exactly what has happened as of late. Now, one couple that was affected, apparently, by this listeria outbreak is suing Boar's Head. Now, since Boar's Head has already recalled the food, it seems clear, right, that it's likely that the listeria outbreak in the Boar's Head food is what caused one member of this elderly couple to get sick. So that's not really debatable. However, this is what they are suing for. $25,000 for injuries and damages from Boar's Head and the market where they bought the Boar's Head products, for medical expenses, loss of enjoyment of life, and damage to the marital relationship of this elderly married couple. It says plaintiff Patrick Fleming, who's not even the one that got sick, has lost the love, services, consortium, comfort, instruction, guidance, counsel, and support of his spouse, which he would have received in the usual course of his married life. This is his wife who got sick. She spent several days in the hospital in Missouri with all of the symptoms that we just mentioned and many more. Now, fortunately, she is back at home. She's recovered somewhat, but at least according to the lawsuit, she's still dealing with the aftermath. And as such, she's not able to perform. And I guess these are my words, not theirs in the lawsuit, but her wifely duty. She's not able to be the wife she once was after getting sick from this listeria outbreak in the Boar's Head meats. What say you? $25,000. Should they get it for listeria ruining their marriage? Donnie says, eating Boar's Head always makes me feel loss of enjoyment of life. Okay, fair enough. So a little bit extra hate for Boar's Head this morning. Grant says only $25,000. This has to be a record for the least amount of money ever demanded in a lawsuit. That's what I thought too. I was like, if you're going to throw all this extra stuff in about it's ruining, it's changed your marriage and whatever, not just the medical expenses, it feels like you should go bigger than $25,000. However, Chris feels the exact opposite. Chris said, pay her medical bills, give her $5,000 for pain and suffering, and move on. I'm tired of all these people suing over every little thing. People don't realize it is the insurance companies for these businesses that shell out for this stuff, and then they raise the rates on everyone else to recover their losses, and the business will raise their prices as well because their premiums went up. All right, leave it to Chris to tell us all how it actually works. I don't know, Chris. I just feel like they shouldn't be able to make people sick and just get away with it. Now, I don't know if they should get all of the money for ruining their marriage. But then again, I mean, she's made it to 88 and she was doing just fine until Boar's Head came along. Feel like maybe they should be held a little bit responsible. You be the judge. 8772 Radio U. We do have the Hudson hotline open right now.
8772 Radio U.
Get in on the group chat with your thoughts on this. If you're at Aldi and you see a quarter that somebody left behind in a shopping cart and you pop it out, return that cart and take that quarter home, or people maybe sometimes even leave multiple quarters just so if you forget one, you always have the option. Is it wrong to collect those up? Is it stealing? Is it wrong? Is it unethical? How do you feel about it? 8772 Radio U. Lots of good thoughts coming in, like Samantha, who says, I'm not going to lie. If I see a cart abandoned in the Aldi parking lot, I'm returning it for the quarter. I don't think now, if it's abandoned, I actually think you're being nice. You deserve that quarter because you've returned it. You've cleaned up the parking lot. It's just a nice thing to do. Anthony, on a similar wavelength, he's saying it's fine. He says, I make $1 every time I go to Aldi. Sometimes more. Anthony, you little, I don't even know. Alex says, I never even realized people left quarters as a nice gesture for others. I never picked up on that. I thought they forgot their quarters, so I was always like, score. But now I realize. So you're going to change your ways, Alex, now that you know that usually I think it's intentional when people leave those quarters behind. And then finally, Nate kind of coming in on the other side here from Samantha and Anthony saying, Nate, I always leave a quarter behind. Collecting them kind of makes it feel like you're robbing somebody else of a gift. Susanna says, stealing, no. Unethical, yes. Now, let me go back to Nate here. I think you're saying you're robbing somebody else of a little gift if you take the quarter that you left. I feel like it's just a little gift for that person, the person that's collecting them, whether they use it for the car or not. I feel like you're just kind of like, either way, it's a nice little treat, a nice little blessing for somebody that maybe a quarter will just actually make their day. Who cares if it makes their day because they need a quarter for a cart or because they need several quarters so that they can go use it to buy, I don't know, half of a sandwich at McDonald's. To me, I'm on team take the quarters. They're left there. Somebody's being nice. Somebody's got to be on the receiving end. It's kind of like the Starbucks coffee chain thing. Somebody's got to end it. It's funny how the Olympics going on makes you suddenly care about things you didn't think you cared about. You hadn't realized you cared about before. Like, I don't know, rugby, handball, cauldrons. I don't know if you saw the story going around that the Olympic flame at the Paris Games, the cauldron that appears to be like lit underneath a giant hot air balloon type thing. Either way, the ceremonial Olympic flame, the torch that is supposed to be lit throughout the Olympic Games, it's going to be lit throughout the Olympic Games. I guess unless the power goes out, because the Olympic flame torch is not a torch. It's not fire at all. It's a bunch of LED lights. And this report recently was brought to light by the Greek City Times, where they found that the ring of the Olympic torch this year, the cauldron, features 40 LED lights that illuminate a cloud of water vapor created by 200 high-pressure misting nozzles. Not going to lie, impressive. And from a distance, you can't tell that it's not a flame. It really does look like something's burning there, but it's not a flame. And that's not right. To me, I didn't know I cared so much about this, and I'm not alone. Many others online are saying things like fake Olympic flame, and things of that nature. I mean, it's supposed to be a thousands of years old ritual that the Olympic flame is lit. It's a torch that's brought from the mountain in Olympia, right? Or something like that. I don't even know. I don't know all the history. I just know that there is some, and that this isn't honoring it. Now, the press office for the Paris Olympics, their quote is, for the Olympic movement, only the symbol of a flame that does not go out before the end of the games matters. Only the symbol. No, that's not true. That is not for our Olympic movement. I don't know what Olympic movement you're a part of, but the French should not be able to handle the Olympics. We need to learn a lesson here. No wonder Joel Embiid didn't want to play for him. Planning a wedding can be so stressful, so taxing, so overwhelming. Sometimes you just need to get away from it all, which is why there's a new trend taking off. It's even made it so far as The Knot, which is where you go for wedding news, of course. And that is early moons. It's like a honeymoon, except you take it before you get married. The idea is to be able to take a break from all of the stress of the wedding planning and everything else going on, and just have some time for you to get together as a couple, focus on stuff that's not planning the wedding, because that can just overrun everything else in your world when you're planning it. Now, look, I'm never against the idea of an excuse for a vacation. The more vacations you can take, the more time you can get away from everyday life. I always think that's a positive by and large. But I also think it should be pointed out that if your wedding planning is causing you that much stress that you're like, the only way I can make it through is if I take a vacation, it's your wedding. So maybe if it's causing you that much stress, it might be defeating the purpose. The wedding's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a celebration, enjoyment. If it's causing you that much stress to plan it, you're in charge of planning it. So dial it back a little bit. Easier said than done, I suppose. We're doing a food fight. NayNay is here with me. NayNay brought these in, even though I instructed him to bring these in. NayNay, we've got Krispy Kremes for us.
Yes, we do have Krispy Kremes. You know, I like how you're finally getting a grip on some of these food fights here. Like, I look at this and I don't want to throw up. So thank you.
Hey, that's a good start. Now, while I may have gotten a grip on what a food fight is supposed to be, you know who hasn't gotten a grip?
Who?
Krispy Kreme themselves.
Why not?
Okay, so these are their new Passport to Paris collection. Why would they put out a Paris-themed collection of donuts, you might ask?
This is for the Olympics. Okay.
Well, they're not saying that, but yes. And they're supposed to be, so they have like a set of USA donuts to cheer on the Americans, but those are like, they're just regular donuts that look American. But these are supposed to be like Paris French-inspired donuts, and they're supposed to be 3. Supposed to be. They only had 2, even though these just came out a couple days ago. They came out on Friday. They could not give us all 3 of the new flavors. So Krispy Kreme fumbled the bag on that.
I only see 2 on this thing. That's it.
That said, they were very nice. They called and they were like, I spoke to them, whatever. And they were very nice about it. But I just don't know how you don't have it was Friday. Friday they started selling these. They already are out of one of them. Kind of crazy. But what we do have, so we don't have the creme brulee donut. But what we do have is a double chocolate eclair donut and a raspberry vanilla donut.
Okay, I want to try that one. You know, I think I can forgive them if these taste well.
Yeah, I'm with you. Even though creme brulee sounds so good, though. But we'll do raspberry vanilla first. This is a original glazed donut dipped in raspberry icing and cookie pieces, topped with a dollop of vanilla buttercream. I think NayNay likes it. Hey, wait a minute. Where's my cookie pieces?
What cookie pieces?
There's supposed to be cookie pieces on this thing. I'm looking at a picture.
I didn't even notice.
It's good without it, though. It's good without it. They entirely have fumbled the bag on this. This is crazy. We're going to have to find a new Krispy Kreme to go to.
Man, I'm going to have to stop eating these food fights. I'm going to get fat, bro.
It is good. It is good, the raspberry and vanilla cream. But imagine how much better it would be if it had the cookie pieces like it was supposed to have. Krispy Kreme, what are you doing there, guys?
Is that 2 fumbles?
Yeah, a double fumble.
Ooh.
This is worse than Mark Sanchez situation.
That's funny.
All right, let's go to the double chocolate eclair, which
I don't
is
like chocolate, man.
the double chocolate eclair. This sounds so good, though. An unglazed shell donut filled with chocolate custard cream, dipped in chocolate icing, and topped with decorative, crisp pearls. And it seems like all the ingredients are here, except, I don't know.
Slowly biting it.
Does it have custard inside like they said it does?
I got to get more.
I can't trust it. I can't trust it until I actually find out.
Oh.
Hey, there.
Whoa.
NayNay.
It's like chocolate pudding inside.
Mmm.
I don't like chocolate pudding.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Chocolate pudding's not bad.
Yeah, it's awesome. These pearls are interesting. I don't know about my donut having like crunchy candy on top.
This is bad imagery, but it feels... Never mind. No, I'm going to go ahead and say it sounds like someone just squirted poop in here,
Oh,
bro.
come on. Come on.
That's what it looks like, guys. Oh, man.
How dare you? Krispy Kreme is I mean, they kind of deserve it a little bit, but come on.
Is that 3 fumbles, Krispy Kreme?
Because it's chocolate and chocolate's the same. Come on, NayNay.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Come on.
I'm just saying what it looks like. That's what I thought it looked like.
Listen, the double chocolate eclair donut is really good with the chocolate pudding inside. I love that. The raspberry vanilla one's fine. It's pretty good. I wish it had the cookies on it. The creme brulee donut gets an incomplete because they didn't give it to us.
The creme blue boo-boo.
Good one.
I'm sorry, it was terrible. I want to eat more of the raspberry one. I like that.
Last question. Do these remind you of Paris or maybe a certain event that's going on in Paris right about now?
I didn't even know the Olympics was happening. No, I'm just kidding.
Who said the Olympics? Who said the Olympics?
I literally watched Team USA the other day. So, yeah. No, this doesn't remind me. But I've also never been to France. I've never been to Paris. I wouldn't know what type of things that they eat there besides tea time.
Maybe things that are incomplete and not what you expected.
Dear God, that's dark.
This is love them or leave them. Real relationship issues with real answers. I don't know. I just made that up. But this is your chance to get some help with your relationship issues. We kind of crowdsource these ideas, these advice for folks going through something. And I serve as the moderator. Let's get to today's issue. Very relatable, this one. We have a gal who says, my boyfriend is a bad texter and has been for months. We've been together for almost 11 months. And it's not just me. I've seen his phone and how many unread texts he has on all platforms. He still plans dates with me when he can and still remembers the little stuff about me. He's told me that he hates texting and calling and that he'd rather see me in person. And now he doesn't even want to hear my voice over the phone. He'd rather be with me and hear it in person. He does have a busy life and we have location sharing on, so I know he's not lying about being busy. He works a lot of jobs, and every day he's either at a race shop working or on the cars or at the racetrack, so he rarely has any free time. But when he does have a free day, he uses it to see me. So my question is, should I still stay with him if he is a bad texter, even though in person everything is great? And if I should stay with him, how do I handle this? Think many people have been through this before. Some have been the complete opposite. The person's on their phone way too much. In this case, the guy's just not looking at his phone, apparently. How much of a problem is it? What should she do? 877-2-RADIO-U. Chime in with your advice in today's love 'em or leave 'em situation. And we'll try to get some good help for this scenario. Tatum says relationships require effort from both sides. If he's not texting back, it could mean he's not as committed as you are. That is definitely true. Or he may be committed to the relationship, but his priority, first and foremost, is his job. That could be a potential red flag if it's too weighted in one side. Bryce says texting is just one form of communication and not everyone is into it. If he shows up for you in person and makes you feel valued, that's what really matters. Maybe try to focus on the quality time you have together and understand that his busy life might make texting less of a priority for him. I was thinking about that, and I kind of alluded to this when we introduced the story, is that, while it may be annoying that he doesn't pay attention to his phone when he's not with you because he's really focused on work or whatever else he's doing, that could also be a blessing because when he's with you, he's focused on you and not his phone. And that's a rare thing to find, that you guys can be together and he cares about you and he's not also looking at his phone the entire time. I think that could be a big positive. Jackie, I think she sums it up pretty well. She said, bad texter, but great boyfriend otherwise. Sounds like a pretty good trade to me. Not everyone communicates the best through texts. I like that perspective. Looking on the bright side. Look, it's not a slam dunk that you just got to stay with this guy because in a perfect world, it'd be nice for him to, since you've expressed you want to text more, it would be nice if he would pay attention to that a little more. But at the same time, I think this really feels like a smaller issue. And maybe this could be, I know you want to communicate with him, but it also could be an opportunity for you to think about, maybe I'm spending too much time on my phone too, and an opportunity to better yourself because if I'm being honest, I feel like all of us, except maybe your boyfriend, could spend less time on our phone, right? Let's be real. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.